Good evening, Scott here, known as Cantaloupe to some online, and I'm bringing a subject to you that's interesting to me. It might be of interest to you or someone you know, and that is open carry when it comes to guns, ordinary firearms, nothing too fancy, no bazookas, but I want to comment on this and a real example from my own recent experience, my own history, and what I believe is proper just because of the effects that I observe when I see people with guns, and I do every once in a while. For example, less than an hour ago, I saw a man walking down the street with a shotgun. So here's the might sound funny, especially in California, but it's not funny everywhere, and it's not funny at all, really. And that's the point, kind of. If the person who's open carrying is responsible, and this is my second attempt at making this video. The first video I said if they have permission, and I probably misspoke, and I'm glad I have an opportunity to fix that because it would contradict things I've said in the past about centralization and authority and laws, unilateral rules for everybody. So, first of all, I've never said that all centralization is bad, that all government is bad. I never said that. I never said that all rules are bad, and I certainly never said that everyone should carry a gun. I want to be very clear about that right off the bat. There are people who aren't mentally equipped to do that. And it's actually kind of rare, I think, for a person to have the maturity and responsibility it takes to be mature and responsible. But the thing is, when those people, mature, responsible people, open carry, it creates a situation. It literally does, wherever they go, where people are thinking twice about everything they do, including the people who are carrying. Now, this is the point. They're spending more time thinking about who they shouldn't shoot than literally anyone else. And they're thinking about consequences, and everybody starts thinking. That's the miracle. When people open carry, everybody starts thinking real hard, don't they? So maybe we need more of that, just saying. In any case, when it comes to guns, I think that they follow the same, conditions and regulations that a knife probably should follow if it's a hunting knife or a knife that could be used very easily for self-defense or whatever. And for that matter, it doesn't so much matter what the item is, whether it's a gun or a knife or a hammer or anything like that, because you cannot regulate obviously every single object. Any object can be a weapon, right? A toaster, if you swing it around by its cord, could be a weapon. And we're not about to ban toasters, I hope, because that would be stupid. So what we need to do is understand, I'm going to speak for myself. What I would do if I, say, ran a shopping mall, if I was the manager or owner, and it was up to me to decide what kind of policies I wanted, I would err on the side of optimism. This is a big deal. I would err on the side of empowering people until there was a reason not to. And there's a very good reason for that. It's an uphill decision. It's a difficult decision to preserve liberty in general. It's a difficult decision to err on the side of confidence in people. But what you end up with on a long enough timeline is better behavior. People work to protect the trust you extend to them most of the time. Yes, every once in a while there's a problem person. That's bound to happen regardless. And your fear-based decision making is not even going to prevent that. Here's the kicker. Your vote of confidence is going to turn 9 out of 10 people into better people. Yes, there's going to be one bad actor. And are you going to let them spoil the barrel is the question. Are you going to make the cowardly choice and ruin it for everybody? Because as a manager, that is the job you have. That's the decision you got to make when there's a problem. There's always going to be, we know there's going to be problems. People are going to make mistakes. That's how they learn, right? You can't expect people not to make mistakes. Someone's going to walk into a shopping mall swinging a machete or whatever. It's going to happen eventually. You already know. So are they swinging it or is it strapped to their side? Are you going to freak out about it? I think that if they're being peaceful, maybe that should be the focus. Maybe the fact that they're setting a good example, whatever they happen to have with them, especially in the future, things are about to change. One way or another, there is going to be a lot more self-defense called for because I believe we are on the verge of an economic turning point, and it's going to bring a lot of new epiphanies and chaos with it, unfortunately. The chaos is unfortunate. The epiphanies are not, if you know what I mean. There's going to be a lot of Old West style living, I think, based on what I see coming up pretty quick, which means there are good and bad things, right? There was a lot of freedom. That was the appeal of the frontier times. The Old West times were very unlimited, relatively unlimited, very free areas to roam, a lot of public areas, public space, land that wasn't claimed, so to speak, and there was a code of conduct, right? This is the big thing when it comes to guns and open carry. There was an unwritten, unspoken code of conduct where everybody was respectful or else. And sometimes that just works. I tell you what, when alcohol's in the mix, everything goes sideways. That was the problem back then, and it's still a problem. Drugs and alcohol will always make things go sideways. But until then, it helps having people with responsibility who are able to act when they need to without having to get on the phone and wait for somebody, if nothing else. Anyway, I hope you all have a good night. Reach out with comments or questions to whitehotrobot@gmail.com. Thank you.